Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So in Madrid, Spain today, they actually had kicked off the COP25, or also known as the United Nations Climate Change Conference. This is something that they do every year. It was initially supposed to be in Santiago, Chile. I informed y'all earlier this year, but they backed out of it only because they were having these anti-government, anti-austerity protests going on over there against the economy and all of that, whatever. And Sebastian Pineda, Presidente over there, was like, nope, we're not having it. So they did it in Madrid, Spain. House Speaker of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, in the United States, her and like 14 other Democratic lawmakers are out there representing the U.S. People are coming to the same consensus. You know, the science is said to be screaming, and drastic measures are needed to be, unprecedented measures are needed to be taken to curb greenhouse gas emissions in order to prevent the most catastrophic results of climate change. Green War graduation. Support of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure you sign that petition. Get Donald Trump on Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrand716, or you can find it in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, over since we're speaking about climate change, as was my last post about with the United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP25 taking off today. We should also mention that on Friday, hundreds of thousands of students across the world actually had stepped out of class in order to protest and bring awareness to the need for action against the climate crisis. You also had on Saturday in East Germany, you had thousands of activists that were actually protesting against these three coal mines. But more scathing is Amnesty International issuing an urgent action warning for Lahore, Pakistan, a place in Pakistan that holds 10 million people, urging their residents that basically they're in harm's way of having their health and their life at risk due to the smog that's engulfed in the city. Green War graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So this Wednesday, the House Judiciary Committee will kick off its first hearing of the impeachment inquiry process. Now, the House Intelligence Committee have been conducting the public hearing so far, and they're actually going to summarize and present their report this week. But with this Wednesday coming up, it's said that like legal experts are supposed to like either speak and testify and give more insight into the nature of like impeachment proceedings and what constitutes like high crimes and misdemeanors for a president to be impeached. Also, you have the White House, of course, saying that these proceedings are unfair. Never mind the fact that the Democrats have invited Trump and his personal lawyer to actually be at Wednesday's House Judiciary Committee hearing. So, we'll see what happens. The fireworks are still going. Green War graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure y'all sign that petition. Get Donald Trump on Twitter. On the change.org link in the Instagram link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrand716, or in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, look up Still Our Grind, man. Mixtape out now. The first ever Instagram mixtape. Go to @still_our_grind or look it up on YouTube at Bishop Grady TV. Now, U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland. This is somebody that was like a wealthy real estate magnate and hotel magnate in Oregon, and after donating $1 million to Trump's inaugural campaign, he actually gets the ambassadorship to the European Union. Like, it's a big deal. He's also centered around these talks regarding whether there was a quid pro quo situation with the president of Ukraine and Trump. Nevertheless, 3 women have accused this man of sexually assaulting them and sexual misconduct, revealing himself and all of that, whatever. Whereas not only did that happen, but after his unwanted advances were rejected, he's accused of responding to them professionally. So, he came in under Trump. Trump right now has over 20 women accusing him of sexual misconduct. What do you expect? Green War graduate. Under the World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So, I've been telling y'all about the protests, the anti-government protests that have been going on over in Iraq, actually. Them protesting against corruption, protesting against basically the lack of jobs, the economic instability, and the influence of Iran over Iraq, as we recently found from these leaked government documents that have shown that there's a strong Iranian influence, and the lack of basic services like water and electricity. So there's been a lot of protesting, but there's also been a crazy crackdown by Iraq's security forces. At least 400 people have been killed. Nevertheless, them people want regime change. And they got a little bit of that possibly with Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi actually resigning, and the government accepting his resignation. But the government has called for security forces to actually call for the closing of 8 television broadcast stations and 4 radio broadcast stations. So, typically that means they might be about to do some more bloody shit, man. Keeping it real. Green War graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So, Prime Minister Joseph Muscat of Malta has actually announced that this January he will be resigning. Now, why is this? Why is this even important? Well, over there in Malta, you had the most prominent journalist of the country, Daphne Caruana Galizia, who was actually murdered by a car bomb in 2017. Well, the country right now is going crazy because Malta's richest man, Jorgen Finesh, actually was implicated in this murder and has been charged with being complicit with the murder. He's already have been arrested for a money laundering charge, but this is actually a huge because he has ties to the Prime Minister and Chief of Staff of the government. So that's why it seems fishy that the Prime Minister himself is actually going to resign amid these investigations. Nevertheless, this is somebody, Daphne Caruana Galizia. She actually reported on the Panama Papers and exposed, included 17 Black, a company that's owned by Jorgen Finesh, in the Panama Papers before she was murdered. Car bomb in 2017. Green War and graduation. Shit real for the journalists out here. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Now, I got a possible MK Ultra situation for y'all, but check this out. So, there was an attacker by the name of Usman Khan. Usman, U-S-M-A-N, Khan, K-H-A-N, out in London. Ironically, his last name of the London mayor, Sadiq Khan. Hopefully there's no relation there. This attacker actually on Friday killed 23-year-old Safia Jones and 25-year-old Jack Merritt, 2 white people, former Cambridge students that actually worked for the prison-based education project known as Learning Together. And in celebrating their 5th anniversary at Fishmonger's Hall, that's where the attack began, and these 2 were stabbed to death. Apparently, Usman Khan was actually convicted of terror-related charges back in 2012 and was just released last year. He was shot and killed by police after a Polish chef was actually fighting him off, despite the chef being stabbed up himself. So, there's definitely a brave move by that person, who was allowing civilians to get away and all of that. But that's what went down. And now, we're 10 days before the December 12th national elections out there, where, this is being politicized. You got Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, basically saying, blaming the Labour Party for their lax prison sentences and treatment of, suspected terrorists in regards to this. So, but the father of Jack Merritt is definitely saying, his son definitely wouldn't want something like this to be politicized. And this is somebody that advocates for prisoners while they were out here. So that's what happened, though. Green War and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Afghanistan, on Thanksgiving, actually, Donald Trump actually made a surprise visit out there. And out there, he made the announcement that the U.S. is actually reopening negotiations with the Taliban, or, wants to come into a deal with the Taliban. But also said that they would be, the United States would demand a ceasefire from Taliban. So we'll see how that even fucking works out. This happens after negotiations with the Taliban were cut back in September, as Trump cited, due to Taliban, basically citing the Taliban's violence over in Afghanistan, whatever, which is already there. So I don't necessarily understand it all the way, but This also comes after the Afghan officials say that the U.S. had a drone strike that killed 5 civilians, including a mother who, Malana, 25-year-old, who actually was having complications with a home birth and was being rushed to a hospital in the Khost province in southeastern Afghanistan. They're looking into it, but this comes after the Pentagon said that this attack was actually against some Taliban members. So, Green War and Graduate. Support the New World Order. Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure y'all sign up a petition. Get Donald Trump on Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Grady Grant 716 bio or the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. So over in Montgomery, Alabama, downtown Montgomery, Alabama, they actually revealed a statue honoring Rosa Parks, a civil rights legend who, on December 1st, 1955, actually refused to give up her seat on the Montgomery bus to allow some white men to sit in the front, so she has to go in the back, which used to be custom for the black people who rode the bus in Montgomery back then. This move and boycott was actually said by many to be the catalyst for the entire civil rights movement that brought out the Civil Rights Act, or the latest one that we abide by, and the Voting Rights Act, which has recently expired and needs to be renewed ASAP, but that's a whole nother story. This took place on Rosa Parks Day, which was actually made an official holiday by Alabama legislature last year, and now there's a statue honoring her. So salute to all the people that were part of the movement. Green War and Graduate. What other New World Order? Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. I got a report on this because this ties into my Get Donald Trump Off Twitter petition at change.org, which you can find a link for in Grady Grant 716 if you're looking at my Instagram bio, or you can find it in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. And it should be adhered to for reasons like this. Now you have a challenger to Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar, the Democratic representative of one of the Democratic representatives up there, and her challenger Danielle Stella for the 2020 representative position actually had her Twitter account suspended permanently after putting up a now deleted tweet that said, if it is proven that Ilhan Omar gave sensitive information to Iran, then she should be tried for treason and hanged. So this all stems from the type of hate that's built up towards that Trump is responsible for. Now her account was suspended permanently. When will Trump's account be suspended permanently? Green War and Graduate. The New World Order. Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. In Midtown Manhattan on Friday, the hundreds of activists from the Extinction Rebellion group, a group known for protesting against climate crisis, whatever, are actually peacefully blocking the intersection near Herald Square in order to bring awareness to not only climate change or the climate crisis, but also consumerism on Black Friday, right? You had protests like this happening worldwide, though. Over in Paris, you had people, blocking this, protesting outside of the Amazon HQ in Paris, as well as also some other activists forming a blockade around the Paris shopping mall area. In Germany, you had similar situations going on around the Amazon HQ. Now, this all comes as Pope Francis. Anytime Pope does something, it makes news, but he actually made a comment on how consumerism is a virus that affects the faith at its root, because it makes your life dependent on essentially things, you know what I mean? And while that's true, you know what else fucks faith up at the root? Pedophilia. Fix that shit, man. Green War and Graduation.